Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Beautiful, wonderful sisters of the Muslim Speech Tribe. How are we doing? How is our weekend going? Welcome everyone to our final panel session of the day. Hope we've been, enjoying all of the sessions. We've been able to pick one or two from it. Uh, I don't, I don't know who is here with me. The camera is not on, Mrs. Ajijola. Okay, Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Bilkis Ajao. Okay, Assalamu alaikum, ma'am.
Walaikum
I'm
salam wa
Bilkis
barakatuh.
Ajao. I'm one of the manager for the Muslim Speech Tribe, and on our panel session, we'll be talking on the topic balancing caregiving with self-care. We have with us our other panelist is not here yet. We have first Mrs. Ajijola. Mrs. Ajijola is a dedicated natural naturopath. Is that correct? Naturopath and highly sought after Ijama
No,
therapist. Harim Badrat Omoyeni.
you're reading the wrong bio. You're reading the wrong bio. This is Sister Badrat Karim.
Yes, you
You
are
Oh,
are
correct. You
sorry.
are
having
correct.
this is
It's
Miss Abigail.
bio I'm reading.
I
Okay, she
said that
just joined.
You are correct. It's
I
not
Just to
know.
come
audible
up and
enough,
see
so
the
I want to
name
check if it's from
bio.
my hand.
Okay. It must be from your
It's
end. I
not
can
Is
hear
audible
it
you.
better
enough.
now, ma? Is it better now, ma?
Yes.
Assalamualaikum, Mrs. Ajola. Can you hear me? I want to know if the network issue is from my end.
Yes, I think I can hear you. It's better.
Okay, okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh again, once again. So we have here with us Mrs. Badrat Karim Omoyeni. She's a dedicated naturopath. She brings a unique blend of expertise and passion to the field and language arts, coupled with extensive training as a naturopathy doctor and certified coping therapist. She is committed to empowering individual on their journey to self-care. From from an early age, she's fascinated with intricate connections between mind, body, and medicine. Armed with a bachelor's degree in communication and language arts, she sought to combine her passion for effective communication with her dedication to holistic healing, ultimately becoming a beacon of knowledge and guidance for those seeking alternative approaches to wellness. With a firm belief in the body innate ability to heal itself when given the right support, she embarked on a journey of discovery in the field of naturopathy. Through years, through years of study and practical experiences, she honored her skills in herbal medicine, nutrition, acupuncture, lifestyle counseling, and various holistic therapies, becoming a trusted advocate for natural healing modalities. Specializing in the ancient art of cupping therapy, she has earned a reputation as one of the most skilled and sought after practitioners in the field. With a gentle touch and a deep understanding of the body energy pathways, she employs the centuries old technique of cupping to promote circulation, reduce pain, and restore balance to the body, mind, and soul. As a neuropath, naturopath, and cupping therapist, she is dedicated to providing personalized care and support to each of our clients. She focuses on individual helping them achieve optimal health and vitality from the inside out. Whether addressing physical
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you so much, Mr. Balikis. The welcome. The objective of this session is the topic of this session is balancing caregiving with self-care. And the objective is this topic is to explore strategies and techniques for individuals providing care to others, aiming to maintain their physical, emotional, and mental well-being through effective self-care practices. This encompasses identifying the challenges and stressors associated with caregiving roles and also understanding the importance of self-care in preventing burnout and maintaining overall health and developing personalized plans and routines that integrate caregiving responsibilities with activities that promote self-nurturance and rejuvenation. Additionally, it seeks to empower caregivers with practical tools and resources to establish boundaries, seek support when needed, and cultivate resilience amidst demands of caregiving. Once again, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us, ma'am. So we'll move into the panel questions. The first question that I have here is, what are some common challenges caregivers face when balancing caregiving duties with their own self-care needs? I'm directing this question to Dr. Badrat. Assalamu alaikum, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yeah, assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I can hear you.
Okay, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dr. Badra, did you hear my question, ma'am?
No, 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 no. Please, can you come again?
Okay,
I
let me
can't
come
hear
again, please.
you.
So I
All right,
said,
thank
first
you.
question. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you so much. I said, what are some common challenges caregivers face when balancing caregiving duties with their own self-care needs? What are the common challenges that they face when they are trying to balance caregiving needs with their own self-care needs?
All right, okay. Now, Hasbillah Mina Shaitan Rajim Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Thank you so much for having me here. May Allah make it beneficial to us all.
Amen.
Going by the question that what are the challenges that as a caregiver that you face in balancing the role with a self-care? The first one is balancing a multiple role. As a caregiver, that actually depends on who you are, whether you are a mother or you are still single. So when you have a multiple role, let's take a mother as a parenting as a study now. You have a multiple role to balance. You balance the workspace, the family, the parents, and even the kids. So for the fact that you have a multiple role to balance, gives you a challenges as a caregiver. So going by that, we have a physical exhaustion. It is normal to be exhausted. So when you work When you feel tired, you feel exhausted. So those are part of the challenges that you face as a caregiver. When you start working, no break. Even when there is break, you have little break. When you finish your work, you go back home, you take care of the family responsibility. So those physical challenges, which can be as we can say a body ache, insomnia, a backache, and the likes. So with that, that as a result makes give you a challenge. After that, we have neglecting a personal need. As a caregiver, there are some needs that you are going to neglect because you're going to focus your attention to the one you are taking care of. So when you focus on the person you are taking care of, focus on your family, focus on other needs. That one will make you neglect your own self personally. At times you can feel that I don't have any issue, I'm doing well, I'm doing fine, nothing happened to me. But at the end of the day, you feel your body will actually ask for it because we can't say you are not you can't do everything. But with that, when you don't give yourself a break, when you feel you can do everything, that nothing happened to me, I'm okay, I can do this, I can do that. At the end of the day, is going to tell. So another thing is you are going to it's going to caregiving is demanding. It's demand physically because you are going to be present there. It's not that something you can just be giving care on phone, on social media and the likes. It's require you to be there. So it's require your physical attention. It's require you to be there, physical demanding. So you can't break yourself into 50, even into two, you can't break yourself. But for the fact that you must be present there physically, those are other challenges. At times you may want to do a consultation, you can do that on the phone via social media and the likes. But when you want to work as a caregiver, you must be present there. Other way or the other, you just need to find your way to go there to be present and take care of whatever you want to do. So it requires a physical demand. So that one as with that one aside, as a result of that, it's a challenge on its own. Are we together?
Yes, we are.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Yes, we are
Yes,
together.
ma'am.
Can you hear me, ma'am?
Okay. So with that one, aside that, we have emotional stress. We have a physical stress because when you work, apart from aside the challenge that we face is a mental stress. You face a mental stress a lot because it's part of challenges. At times when you are doing something and you expect a result and you've not been seeing the results that you are expecting, know how is going to give you a mental stress. Like now, I have a target that this person in the next 6 to 7 months we should be able to reach this place. But when you're unable to do that, unable to achieve what you intend to do, the plan, the already laid down plan that you have for yourself, when you're unable to reach that goal, that's going to give you a mental stress. And when you have a mental stress, that is a big challenge that you need to seek help to deal with that. So the challenges to cap it up, the challenges we face as a caregiver, we have a physical stress, it's physical demanding, we have a mental stress, we have a mental stress, and we it's when taking care of someone, it has to do with your emotion as well. Because at times you see some people, you are going to apply empathy because sympathy is not going to work at that time. Empathy will work. But when you apply empathy, you feel at times you feel emotionally that God, what is this? But with that, when leaving your emotion aside, that one will make you work. But if you're unable to leave your emotion aside, those are parts of challenges that you're going to be facing as a caregiver. Thank you.
MashaAllah, Jazakumullah khairan. That is very interesting. So the first challenge is when you're trying to when you're being a caregiver and you're trying to balance it with self care is you're going to be physically exhausted due to little to no break that you're taking as a result of constant self-care routine and constant self caregiving routine. And also, um, one of the challenges is also you neglect your personal needs most of the time, and you go through mental and emotional stress. Now, Jazakallah khairan. Thank you so much, ma'am. Moving to the second question, how does neglecting self-care impact a caregiver's ability to provide effective support to their loved ones? Um, Dr. Shakira, please, would have you on this, ma'am.
All right. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Um, okay, so yes. So your question was what are the signs of burnout, if I heard you correctly?
Yeah, how does neglecting self-care impact a self-giver's ability to provide effective support to their loved ones?
Okay.
Neglecting their
My
own
sister
self-care
that
affects
spoke, yes,
their
my sister
ability to
that spoke
support.
before more or less like, pointed out some of those things. Once self-care is an important part or an important aspect of our lives, especially for us as women that we are caregivers and we do so many roles: mother, nurse, cook, cleaner. There's so many caps that we wear. So when we now neglect our self-care, which is our downtime, or the time when we have to sit back, relax, or more or less like recharge our batteries. When we neglect that, one of the major things that happens is burnout. And this is when you shut down totally. You can't function, you can't do anything, you can't even be useful to those that you are supposed to care for. Another one is your emotions are now all over the place. There are feelings of shame, there are feelings of guilt. Um, I know of people that struggle with, even taking time out for self-care. There are moms that when they are, maybe they oversleep, or if they go out for parties, or they take out time to, just relax, they begin to feel guilty. Oh, have I done enough for, the people I'm caring for me to say I want to relax? So they deal with a lot of feelings of guilt. There's a lot of stress. There's a lot of mental overload. And that's why you see a lot of mothers shout on their children majority of the time. You see them either shouting, or they are cranky, they are annoyed. So self-care pretty much helps you to, like, so it's like saying your phone memory is full. Hmm? Your phone memory is full and the phone is now beginning to drag. The camera is not working properly, some apps are shutting down unnecessarily. How do you now care for that phone to ensure that it keeps working? What self-care does is that, let's look at it from this angle of, okay, so self-care is now saying you are deleting unwanted videos, you are, delegating your time, you are picking out which things you need to do. Eventually your phone begins to work properly again. So in summary, when you neglect your self-care, you become stressed. It tells on both your mind and your body. You start having feelings of shame or guilt that maybe you didn't do enough. There's a mental overload, and ultimately there would be burnout, such that you will now not be useful to anyone at all. Now,
Nah, exactly. Fine. That is well understood. So when you neglect self-care, it is more like you're trying to pour from an empty cup, which is not possible. So you need to go back and rejuvenate and refresh so that you can always give that support that is needed of you as a caregiver. Now, Jazakallah khairan. So what are some signs and symptoms of a caregiver burnout, and how can they be recognized and addressed accordingly? Dr. Shakira, we can still have you on this, please.
now, so for me, most of the symptoms I have seen are, just like I mentioned earlier, you feel that constant pressure to, want to be with your children. You think that, oh, I need to spend more time with them rather than, map out how, I can balance being with them and also taking care of myself. The moms
Okay.
experience caregivers that, are already feeling burnout or have not been effectively taking care of their time would also experience extreme emotional and physical fatigue. Whether you like it or not, our bodies are pretty much like an engine. If you keep running that engine over and over and over without maintaining it or taking time out for maintenance, it will either begin to slow down and one day the engine will just knock. Then the other one is you now begin to function on autopilot. I've had moms tell me that they feel like, their life is like a monotonous regime, as if there's a switch that just flips the moment they wake up in the morning, wake up, get the children ready for school, cook food for the house, clean the house, go to work, come back home and pick them, come back home, on their way back home, pick the children, get home, cook, get the children to bed, get the children to do the assignment, get them to bed, go back to sleep, and then the next morning the cycle starts again. And they say they just feel that they are doing it on autopilot, as if they are not physically there, but they are like outside their body and they can see, they are themselves going through the motion. And those are one of the major signs of, burnout. Another one is some caregivers now begin to neglect other duties because they have spread themselves too thin. You have added on so many things that you can either outsource or delegate, and you are doing everything by yourself. So when they begin to spread themselves too thin, and then some things begin to suffer. And just like I mentioned earlier on, some caregivers now become emotionally stressed to the point that they are taking it out on the people that they are supposed to be caring for. And like I mentioned earlier on as well, they begin to have feelings of guilt and shame. So maybe they've shouted on their child because they feel stressed, and then they feel bad that, oh, why did I shout on this child? I should have been nicer, or why am I behaving like this? And then that also leads to them now feeling inadequate, feelings of inadequacy, that am I doing enough? Am I doing as I should? Am I doing better? So the list is endless, but those I feel that I have seen in most of the moms that I've come across that are experiencing burnout or are close to experiencing it.
So how can these signs be addressed, ma'am? How can they be addressed?
Okay, so to address burnout is pretty simple. One of the major issues that we face, that my sister mentioned earlier on, is balance. And that balance is pretty much like, balancing time, balancing how you want to do things, when do you want to take a rest, when don't you need to take a rest. So the first thing is even recognizing that, okay, this system, or whatever system I'm running for my house, or whatever caregiving regime I am using, is not working. It's making me stressed, it's making me feel sick, it's making me feel a certain way that I don't want to. Recognizing it is the first thing. Then the second one is making sure, or getting to that point where you understand that, okay, something is wrong, what do I need to do? I need to take a step back, I need to make time for me. And then you can now build either strategies to help, which might be, delegating your time, having a heart-to-heart conversation with your spouse, explaining to them that, oh, this is how I feel, this is what has been going on. I think I might need to, take a step back or slow down on some things, to get them to either work out an arrangement that, okay, what are the things I can do? What are the things I cannot do? So the things I can do, can I do all of them? Or are there some parts of it that I can outsource? The things I cannot do, are there people that can do it for me that I trust to enter into my space, that they will not scatter the routines that I have laid down, and all of us can work effectively. Then another one is, for moms most of the time, or for caregivers, we find it difficult to say no. So you need to be able to set boundaries. You need to be able to set boundaries. And why am I saying this? You have moms that, maybe other moms admire you. Oh, you are doing so well. You seem to handle your children so effortlessly. Oh, when you are coming to pick the children at closing, can you pick my own children for me too? I'll come and collect them from your house. You say yes, because you feel you can do it. And then you are back in the house, as opposed to your maybe 2 or 3 children. You have like 7 children running in different directions in the house. And then someone is calling you and asking you, "Oh, can you quickly help me pick up this and that and that?" And you tell the elder one that is at home that, please help me look after this, I'm coming. So you're spreading yourself thin in so many directions. Setting boundaries is important. It is extremely, extremely important. Then another thing is to also remember that as caregivers, we often forget, sorry, we often forget that the person we need to be kind the most to is ourselves. We forget that a lot because we are so focused on ensuring that we are offering optimal care to the people that we need to help out, that we are forgetting that who is caring for us, who is looking after us. So we need to also be careful and be kind and go easy on ourselves. Another thing is set realistic expectations. Once you realize that whatever caregiving schedule or system you are doing is not working, and you are starting to work out a way to make it work for you, don't set unrealistic expectations. Being stressed out, not enough time to do so many things, and then you say, oh, by tomorrow morning I'm going to switch up everything. Chances are you're switching up everything the next morning will end up in a disaster. So plan it out, set realistic expectations, and above all, practicing self-care, just like we mentioned, is a key part. Even as little as just lying down and taking a 1 hour nap uninterrupted without anybody waking you up in between or asking you to quickly come and look at something is enough. Because when we talk about self-care, people seem to think of it on a grander scale, that, oh, I take myself out to the movies, I go to a restaurant and I eat on my own, or I go to a party and nobody followed me. As little as a 1 hour nap without anybody disturbing you is more than enough to recharge your batteries and get you in a healthy mind space where you can now think clearly and begin to map out how to work effectively. Assalamu alaikum.
Now, Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakallah khairan. So, some of the signs
No.
and symptoms of burnout in a self-care giver is when you don't feel motivated in your caregiving duties. I mean, when it just feels like you're following a routine and you just do not feel attached to anything at all. You just feel like, let's just do this, right? So, and then one of the things that you can, the list of things that you can use to address that is when you're able to recognize that, oh, this plan is not working, and you actually need to take a step back to retrace yourself, and also being able to seek help and support and embracing help and support. The third one is being able to set boundaries and say no when you should say no. And one of the ways that we can address, or one of the mistakes that caregivers make is um, saying yes to everything, and also spreading themselves in so many directions such that they are not able to bring themselves together to like give the best of themselves to who they care for. Now, and the last one is to set realistic expectations so that you do not get yourself overworked on things when they don't get out as you planned it. Jazakallah khairan. Thank you so much, ma'am. Now, Dr. Badrat, I'm directing my next question to you, ma'am. So
Okay.
caregivers, how can they establish healthy boundaries? Because we know that it is not easy to actually establish boundaries, especially when those people are like very close to you, or when you're trying to work on, okay, how do I say no? Or these people are so close to me, they're so dear to my heart. I really can't say no in this situation. How can we establish healthy boundaries to prevent feeling overwhelmed by their caregiving responsibilities? Even so, our kids, with our husbands, with our moms and dads, how can we set these and healthy boundaries with them so that we could rejuvenate, we could refresh ourselves and give the best of ourselves our to our works now.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Establishing boundary, that is a healthy boundary, is very crucial for caregivers. That is, if you want to maintain a physical, emotion, or mental well-being, it is very, very important to set your boundary. And not just an ordinary boundary, a healthy boundary. Please, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, ma'am.
All
Yes,
right.
we
It
can.
is okay. It is very, very important to set boundaries, not just boundary, but an healthy one. So, how do you now set the boundary? I'm going to pick a point from what my sister said earlier. That is, you need to set a clear limit. Set a clear limit. As a caregiver, define your role. Define your responsibility because they will want you to do everything. But when you set your goal, when you define your responsibility, that is, this is the boundaries I want to set for myself, for the one I'm taking care of, for my family, even my friends. When you set the boundary, you have a set clear limit. You set the boundary for everybody. You can't do everything. You can't be everywhere. You can't please everyone. So by setting your boundary, you know that okay, this is my limit. And apart from that too, it is always important to prioritize self-care. See, what you are doing in this life, that you don't have time for yourself. Hmm. At the end of the day, when the nature calls or when it sells, it's going to be very difficult. So it is always very important to prioritize self-care. Many a times as a mother, even a caregiver, to have time for yourself to plait your hair, it is war. Except maybe your husband start complaining that this hair is too rough now. At times you feel that okay, let me take care of my children. I don't know the last time some people even take them out. Okay, let me buy clothes for myself. Let me buy single hijab for myself. Let me buy single jilbab for myself. We prioritize others more than ourselves. It is only when we see that we are lacking this thing, that is why I go to open our eyes that I've been working on a while. Let me take care of myself too. We don't need to wait till that one. So another one is I want to pick up a point from what she said also, that learn how to say no. Learn how to say no. Don't be the master of all. Say no when it's necessary. Help me do this thing, I can do it. Help me do this one, I can do it. Help me do that, I can do it. At the end of the day, you are going to feel disappointed if those that you did not say no to eventually say it to you. Because you feel you can help others. Fine. We are following the hadith of the prophet. La yuminu hadukum hatta yuhibba lahi ma yuhibbu nafsihi. It's true we do that, but you just need to say no to some things. Because if you don't say no, people will feel you that okay, she can even do it. Let us ask Mrs. Lagbaja, maybe she can do it for us. Let us ask her that she can do it. But at the end of the day, if you need their help, don't be disappointed that they will not do it for you as well. Aside that too is delegate task. Delegate task. Share responsibility. If there are things that you feel that people can do for me, let them do it for you. You be the one as a caregiver to finish your job. You be the one to go home, take care of the kids, wash clothes, wash plates, wash this, wash that, do this, go to the market, run an errand. We have people that run around these days. Delegate role, share responsibility. Call those that can wash clothes to wash it for you. Tell those that can clean the house to clean it for you. At the end of the day, you even have time that you see you have time for yourself to even relax. But you feel that you can do everything together. By the time you get burnt out, you will not be any, you will not see anybody to even assist you in that. So share responsibility with others, such as family members if they are available to help you, such as friends if they can help you, and even we have professionals that can help you to do it. Aside that too, another point is communicate openly. Communicate openly. Share your feelings to others. Don't keep mute. Speak up. When you are facing challenges, when there's something bothering you, speak up. Communicate with people. If you have someone that you trust, just message the person, I'm feeling this way, I'm feeling this, I'm feeling that. After it's when you speak up, you feel relieved. Because I've been experiencing it a lot. When there's something bothering you and you speak up, you feel relieved. You feel loved. For the fact that you speak up, that even if there's something wrong, they'll say, and she told me. It is me that did not even take any action when she told me. But when you keep things to yourself, you find it difficult to even express yourself with others. And you said you are a caregiver. You are not a caregiver. If you don't speak up, how do you expect the one you are taking care to speak up to you? When you don't speak up, how do you expect your children to even speak up to you as well? So, aside that too, it is very, very important to set boundaries with technology. Set boundaries with technologies. Know how to pick calls. know when to pick calls, know when to respond to emails, to respond to text messages. You set boundary that okay, this is the time that I want to use on social media. This is the time that I want to use to take care of myself. This is when I want to pick calls. But so time I'm not interested in picking calls. It is not all about that being brag. It is all about self-care. Love yourself. Because you see some people when they call you, they can use more than 1 hour on phone and you won't want to complain. Even at times you'll be on call. You'll be having your hair will be eating you. You won't want to talk because you don't want to spoil the relationship. But when you set the boundary for yourself, when you have a timetable that from so to so I'm going to pick calls. From this time to this time I'm going to be on social media. From this time to this time I'm going to reply to all the text messages. Then you even feel that you are going to live a fulfilled life. But when Mr. Hay call, you pick it. When B call, you pick it. When C call, you pick it. You feel that you've already spent most of the time on social media without being able to be productive, without being able to be productive for yourself. Aside that, so another point is practice self-compassion. Love yourself. Be kind to yourself. Be compassionate to yourself. When your body feels that I need this thing, give it to your body willingly. When your body needs rest, give the rest to your body. Rest, rest, rest. Because if you fail to rest, you'll be the one you at the end of the day, you see that the care you are giving to others is exactly the care that you need. But you take a time out to yourself to rest. Every day is not all about work. Take care of yourself. Let people take care of you too. We also we need to be compassionate to ourselves. We also need care. But when you don't create time to take care of yourself, it will actually lead to burnout. Thank you so much.
Zakallah Karen for the insights, ma. So I'll be throwing in the last question to wrap up the session. Um, so can you hear me, ma?
Yes, we can.
Assalamualaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. We can hear you.
Walaikum salam. Yes. Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. So how can one, like a caregiver, navigate feeling guilty? You've talked about us emulating the habit of saying no. And there are just some people that when you say no, you start feeling guilty, start thinking of, oh, what if you start thinking, assuming for the other party, like, what if this person, all form of guilt. How do a caregiver navigate the feelings of guilt or the obligation needs? So that question is to Mrs. Ajola. Let's start off with Mrs. Ajola.
Now, salam alaikum. So, just as my sister mentioned earlier on, and as I
Can
mentioned
you hear
earlier
me,
on as well, yes, I
ma?
can. Yes, I
Yes,
can.
yes, yes.
I can. So,
Can
for
anyone
us
hear
as
me?
caregivers, dealing with those feelings of guilt and shame starts from the most simplest of
Okay,
tasks,
well,
and that is actually
that's um,
acknowledging that we feel that shame, we feel that guilt. Because if you cannot fix something you
okay.
cannot acknowledge. You cannot work out on something that you have not accepted. So the first step is for us even accepting and noticing that yes, we are feeling guilty. Why am I feeling guilty? Is there a solid reason why I feel guilty? When you accept these feelings, you can now begin to work out how you can sort it. Okay, I am feeling guilty because of this. Is this reason valid? Is it not valid? Do I need to sort it out? And is it something that is very important I sort it out now, or I don't, or I sort it out later? Just as you mentioned also, another way we can deal with our constant feelings of guilt and shame is to keep lines of communication open at all times, especially with our partners, such that you will not get to the point where you now be cranky and they don't understand why you are being cranky. Be open and honest with your feelings. Oh, I am feeling tired today. Can I sit this one out? Oh, I feel like I can't do this today. Can I rest? So before, let me even use myself as a practical example for that feelings of guilt. When my children were much younger, because their dad had a, like a very crazy routine. He would leave the house very early in the morning, come back very late at night. I was the one doing school runs, showing up for school events and the rest. And what happened was, at some point in time, I started neglecting what I needed to do. So when the time came and I was like, okay, you know what? I want to be doing things by myself. So some days I would get to their school late. I was feeling bad. Some days I would miss programs that they need to do because I had spread myself too thin. And this was when they were younger. So I began to feel really bad. If anybody made a comment as little as, and we know that you used to do better, oh," I would cry. And I'll be wondering, am I a bad mother? Is there something wrong with me? And those feelings of shame, I kept it to myself until one day it blew out. I can't remember what it was that my husband was talking about, and he was like, "Oh, you go. I know that you will be able to go and be there for the children." And I just burst out and I started shouting that, why do I always have to be the one there for them? Me, I don't have time for my own self too. I'm feeling this, I'm feeling that, I'm feeling that, I'm feeling this. And he was shocked. He was like, "You've never told me anything, that you do this thing as if it comes to you effortlessly." So now that I know better, now that I am much more knowledgeable about these things and know what to do. Something as little as school runs now. The elder two are in boarding house, the younger one is still at home. We rotate school runs. There are days when I wake up in the morning and I don't feel up to it, and I will tell him, "Please, you be the one to drop him in school today. I do not feel up to it." So we rotate it. Will you pick him up in the morning? I will pick him up in the afternoon. Things as little as even cooking. If I don't feel like it, or I feel very overwhelmed on some days, I will tell him, "Oh yeah, let's balance these things out." Then above all, I think about 2 or 3 support groups for moms that I am in. So there's the one for moms that are trying to conceive. There's another one where we have young moms, and then there's another one for moms that are a little bit older or around my age, where they have teenage children and the rest. So what this does is that it also helps you to understand that you are not alone with your feelings of guilt or shame. Every single caregiver experiences it at different phases of their life, depending on what stage your children are growing, or depending on the situation at home. There is always that feeling of guilt that, oh, am I to blame? Or is it that I did not do enough? Or is it that there's something that how other people doing it and I can't do it? So being able to have that support system would also help you with that feeling of guilt. Then another thing is to also be aware of where, just like she said, setting healthy boundaries. Aware of where your boundaries are not being met and where they are being violated. You need to find that balance in between. And so another way to explain that is that, just like she mentioned, that you cannot, and the moderator mentioned, that you cannot pour from an empty cup. Once you're already feeling guilty, you're already feeling inadequate, you're already feeling like you can't do so much. When other people are asking you to do things and you are saying yes, you are more or less compounding the problem. So it's important to be aware of where you are stretching yourself too thin. So I hope all of these help. And another thing I forgot to mention, she was talking about boundaries. Another practical tip that I use, because based on my line of work, over time I realized that I would be on the phone pretty much till 12 a.m. And what that meant was I would wake up tired the next morning, whether I wanted to or not. Over time, I was like, how do I do this thing? How do I do this thing? If I switch off my phone, if there's an emergency, how will I work with that? I began to worry. If I mute my phone, how would somebody want to reach me if there's an emergency? I began to worry about that. Until, on the mom support group I was in, someone mentioned that, oh, there's a way to put your phone on downtime and schedule it. And there's a way to select certain numbers such that it is only your family members or people that need to reach you urgently in the middle of the night that can reach you. And since then, that is the strategy I've been using. Initially, it was from the phone will come on at 7 and then it will go off at 11:45, 11:50. But now I do 5 a.m. 5 a.m. so that at least I can, be able to do some adkar beforehand and do my salat. And then in the night, once it is 10:30, the phone stops on its own. And when it does that, it means that if anybody calls me, it will decline it immediately on their end. If they send me messages, I won't see it until in the morning. So pretty much I am unreachable. And then it also reminds me that you have scrolled enough or done enough, maybe work on your phone, creating content and whatever, it is time to shut down for the night. So the first thing my phone does when it gets to that point is I don't hear any audio again. It shuts off all audio, whether it's video, whether it is a voice note I'm listening, it shuts it off. And the moment it does that, I now remember that, oh yeah, it is time to start slowing down for the night. I'm going to
Exactly.
bed. So I keep changing that time. I review it like every 3 to 6 months. I'm supposed to review that time frame again at the end of this month and say, okay, has 5 a.m. to 11 been working for you? And do we need to either move that 11 up to maybe 8 or 9? That immediately after you've done your Ishai and you've done maybe some other Adkar and done other things, you shut down. So I'm constantly reviewing it such that my head is not full before I go to bed, and I am not going to bed tired only to wake up tired in the morning again. So that's another thing that we can work on. Be honest and open with yourself that you are feeling guilty, and then begin to work towards sorting out or removing the things that are making you feel guilty, and also being kind to yourself. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam wa barakatuh. Sorry, I would like to say a few points regarding feeling guilty. And I'm going to take it from the point of a caregiver this time around. As a caregiver, one thing is very, very important: remove perfection. Remove perfection. Always believe that perfection is only from Allah. So when you remove perfection, the feeling of guilt will not even come at that. Let me cite my work as an example now. When I have a work to do, you don't need to brag that in the next 3 to 4 months this thing will happen. No, you don't need to say all that, because with that you are telling them that 3 4 months you'll be fine, you'll be this. Only perfection is from Allah. One thing that you need to do is just that: give your best. The moment you fail to give your best, you are going to be feeling guilty, and it's going to keep hurting you even for the rest of your life. But when you believe that this thing that I want to do, this thing I'm being employed for, I need to do this so for this person. Just make sure that you give him your best. If you set a time for them that I'm going to work for you between so time, don't reduce the time. Even if you can add to this time, okay, I'll be using 45 minutes with you. If you use 50 minutes, it is still okay. But when you promise them that I'm going to use 45 minutes with them and you use 30 minutes with them, you are not doing your best. And at the end of the day, it's going to hurt you. Let me cite an example of doctors now. When we go to the hospital, we feel that the doctors are too harsh. They are this and that. No, that is part of how they are being trained. Because something at times we need to be harsh on ourselves so that we know the right thing. But when you fail to do the necessary thing, when you fail to do what you are expected to do, you are going to be feeling guilty. At times when I see cases of a caregiving now, at times I will need to go and drink Zem water and pray. that, oh Allah, I need success in this job. Because I want to get scared that this thing is overwhelming. But when you know that I've already put in my best for this thing, the guilt will be reduced. And when you know that you've already put in your best again and you are still feeling guilty, I believe that one is from Shaitan. Because I know that this job I want to do, I've already put in my best. So if I start feeling guilty again, then you will know that okay, maybe something is wrong somewhere. I have another case recently. I Someone came to my office for a treatment, for a treatment. I think that he suffers from arthritis. At the end of the day, when we started the process, that will be the first time that you come to our office that you won't even make payments before we attend to you. We have to attend to him that okay, maybe when he comes for another section, that maybe he's going to bring the money. That was exactly what he promised to. Do you believe he didn't come for the second section? The third section that we make call to, we had is dead. I didn't think we did not even make an attempt to do something. I think we didn't make an attempt to even help him that we can say we can't accept you. Oh, please, or you need to make payments. We still be feeling guilty today that I didn't mean we've done this thing for this person. It wouldn't we have gone to this stage. I didn't mean this, I didn't mean that, I didn't mean so when you feel that okay, let me just do my best in everything I want to do and leave the rest to Allah, then that feeling will be reduced or you will not even have it at all. So another thing that will not make you to feel guilty is celebrate your success when you achieve. Thank Allah. Thank Allah. Thank your people. Praise them. Appreciate them. Appreciate yourself. Because when we at times when we see a lot of people that they have one or two certificates, they put it on social media. What are they doing? They are celebrating themselves. They are celebrating their success. So when you celebrate your success, even the feeling of being guilty, you won't even have it that this is me. It's not all about bragging. No. Even if it's a little win and win, make we celebrate ourselves. So with that, the feeling of being guilty that you are not doing up to what is being expected of you, that one will be out of it. Thank you so much. Jazakumullah khairan.
Can I just quickly add something? So my sister mentioned about you doing, your best, putting your best foot forward, and that when you have put your best foot forward and you still feel guilty, then it means that something is lacking. And one of the things that usually causes that feeling to persist, even after we have realized that no one can be perfect except for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala,
Yes.
is self comparison.
Self
Do not
comparison. Perfect.
compare
Yes.
do not compare the system in your house to the system in someone else's house. Just like she said, you see maybe caregivers like yourself celebrating PhD, masters, this and that almost every other week, and you are still struggling with one course. Why do you feel the need to compare yourself to that person? Self comparison is a stealer of joy. It just makes you an unhappy person all round. So we must try as much as possible as caregivers not to compare ourselves to others, because that is also one of the major things that increases our feelings of guilt. Focus on yourself, know who you are, know what you can do and what you cannot do, know what is comfortable for you and what is uncomfortable for you. Do not compare yourself to anybody else. And just like she said, to round it up, Allah is the only one that is perfect. We as human beings can never be perfect. We can only do as much as we are able to. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam wa
Walaikum
rahmatullahi wa
assalam wa
barakatuh.
rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakumullah khair, moms. Thank you so, so much. We sincerely appreciate you. And one of the things that I got from this session is that Allah is the only one that is perfect, and you cannot be perfect, regardless of however effort you put in. So do whatever you can, and whatever comes out of it, accept it like that and move on. Now, and that is going to help you to maintain and sustain your energy, your mental energy, your physical energy, and your emotional energy to give the best of yourself to the people that you care for. This is an insightful session. I really, really appreciate it. We all appreciate it. Jazakumullah khairan, moms. Thank you so, so much. Now, سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك I'm not sure we have any question in the chat section. So that would be we ending the
Assalamualaikum wabarakatuh. Jazakumullah khairan for this session. It was a wonderful one. She was trying to round up, but I guess her network threw her out. Okay, so I've learned a lot back end from listening to this session, and I hope that the people in the audience have equally learned a lot as well, and that they put to use what they've learned. Jazakumullah khairan for honoring us with your time. We hope that when we call you again, inshallah, you do us the honor as well. We've come to the end of this session. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa barakatuh. Bye.